When I wouldn't open my hands, God, in His mercy, took the weight away. When I wouldn't open my hands and let go of it, God just took it from me. His no was the release I wouldn't choose for myself, although He had been whispering to me to do so. And it was only after His no that I stopped circling and began the work. What are you still holding on to that God has been asking you to release? I'm going to let that question sit for a second because I know it has landed somewhere. Maybe it's a role, maybe it's being the one who handles it all, handles everything. Maybe it's a pain you've been calling strength. You know it's heavy, but putting it down feels like failing. Sis, stay with me today because what if I told you that the weight in your arms, God's been asking for it all along? I'm Dr. Phyllis, your landing coach, and this is episode 144 of Below the Circle. You're not holding it all because you want to. You're holding it because somewhere along the way, putting it down started to feel like failing. God hasn't been asking for the weight because you failed. He's been asking because he saw what carrying it was costing you. I want to say that again. God hasn't been asking for the weight of what you're carrying because you failed. He's been asking because he saw what carrying all of this is costing you. Let me tell you about the heaviest thing I ever held and how God finally had to take it out of my hands. It was 2020. I was transitioning out of a leadership position I'd held for 6 years. And God had been whispering to me, what if there's something more? Hear what that was. That was the ask. That was God asking for me to give him the weight. And I heard it. And what did I do? I held on to it even tighter because instead of getting still and asking what he wanted me to release, I applied for another leadership position, work that was deeply personal to me, tied to who I am, not just what I do. And if I'm honest with you, I didn't want to lose my seat at the table. I didn't want to miss out being in the room. The seat was one of the things I was holding. So I did what we do, right? All the research, all the preparation. I was even made to feel the position was mine to refuse. But one thing I do remember, I remember being tired, a tired that I couldn't put my finger on. And here's the part that I need you to hear, sis. Before that interview, I found a conference room and I prayed. But listen to what I prayed for. I didn't ask God whether I should be holding this at all. I asked Him for the strength to keep holding it. Hear that. I was asking God to give me the strength to get through the interview, to get the position. I was asking God to help me carry the very thing He had been asking me to release. And in the middle of that interview, after I had asked every question spot on about my leadership, my experience, my own story, a question came that I could have answered in my sleep. And something yet whispered inside me, even all of that wasn't enough. So, a question was asked, and all of a sudden, I just drew a blank. This is a question that I could have, in another time, I could have answered, as I said, in my sleep. But the question was asked, and I just drew a blank. It My fuel didn't dip, my energy didn't dip. It didn't just dip, it plummeted. I wasn't nervous. I was empty. I just felt depleted, like there was nothing else to give out. Like a plane out of fuel midair, and even the fumes weren't enough. It took me a long time to understand what actually ran out that day. What really was depleted. My spirit was tired of trying to prove myself to one more panel in one more room for one more title. Because that's really was what I was holding onto, the proving. And proving is a fuel that burns fast, but yet never fills the tank. Well, someone else was chosen for that position. And for a long time, I said, luckily, they were chosen. But it wasn't luck, it was release. Because to be honest, in retrospect, I'm so happy I didn't get that position. And it wasn't luck. When I wouldn't open my hands, God, in His mercy, took the weight away. When I wouldn't open my hands and let go of it, God just took it from me. His no was the release I wouldn't choose for myself, although He had been whispering to me to do so. And it was only after His no that I stopped circling and began the work. Now, my question for you, what you're holding, let me reframe that. What are you holding on to? And then the follow up is to share with you that what you're holding may not be a position, yet maybe it's a role that ended that you haven't let in. Maybe it's being the one who holds everyone else together. Maybe it's the proving. But hear the question one more time and hear it not from me, but from God in his voice. Imagine his voice asking you, what are you still holding that I have been asking you to release? I'm not asking because you failed, my daughter. I'm asking because I see what you are carrying is costing you. Now, I want to say that again. Imagine God talking to you today, and he's asking you, what are you still holding that I have been asking you to release? I'm not asking because you failed. I'm asking because I see what carrying it is costing you. Now, sis, I know what you're thinking. Dr. Phyllis, if I release it, everything falls. Sis, surrender isn't losing your grip, it's answering a request. You're not dropping the weight into thin air. You're placing it in the hands that have been open this whole time, waiting to carry it for you. I want to give you a moment for that to sit in. Before we land this episode today, can I share something with you? If something in this episode speaks to you, I want you to know there's a place being prepared for women who have decided they're done circling. It's called the Landing Lounge. It's a welcoming space you can be a part of from wherever you are. We're high achieving, but it's really more when I say high achieving is that you're striving. You're wired to strive. So it's really where striving women come down from the clouds and land in what matters and stop landing alone. Now, the doors aren't open yet, but the runway is being prepared. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to go to the belowthecircle.com site and reserve your seat. And when you do, you will receive your clearance to land, a private video from me to you. That's belowthecircle.com. You don't have to know how to land, just come down to where the ground crew is. Here's what I'm asking you to do this week. Find one quiet moment, sit down, put your palms open in your lap, and finish this sentence out loud. I'm still holding blank. That's it. You don't have to release it yet. You don't have to know how. Just stop pretending you're not holding it and let God hear you say it. That's not weakness. That's the radio coming back on. And as we say in the Below the Circle, that means you're opening your radio waves so that God in the air traffic controller tower can connect with you and you connect with him and you can hear him. Now, if this episode named something for you, it resonates with you, would you share it with one woman whose arms are also full? Send it to her because we were never meant to land alone. We land together. Subscribe so you don't miss next week. And until then, stop circling, start landing. And sis, always remember it's not too late to land. Whole, aligned, and free. Talk to you next week. Bye for now.